What is going on, guys? It's your boy Chris here. I'm gonna start this off right now. If you like the videos where I have a little bit of fire in them, well, let me tell you something, brother, because I've got one to get off my chest right now. Obviously, yesterday, the news that Hulk Hogan passed away hit. And there have been a lot of people with a lot of thoughts about that. I myself have put out some of my own thoughts about Hulk Hogan and his passing. But for those who don't follow me on social media and just watch me here, allow me to be perfectly clear on this. Without Hulk Hogan, professional wrestling would not be where it is today. That is an undeniable, indisputable fact. He changed the course of the wrestling business twice. Once with Hulkamania and the second time with the NWO. He has been involved in some of the biggest matches in the history of our sport. Slamming Andre at WrestleMania 3. Wrestling Randy Savage at WrestleMania 5. Beating the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6 in the Ultimate Challenge. Beating Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania, I think I want to say 7? Was it 7? Or was it 8? It was 7. I think it was 7. All of these matches. Being the third man in the NWO. Kicking that off. Him versus Goldberg. Him and Sting at Starrcade 97. Him and The Rock at WrestleMania 18. These matches are and will always be remembered for the moments and the electricity that they created. They are indeed immortal, much like Hulk Hogan himself is to an extent. However, that's not the entire story of Hulk Hogan. Because we know the other part of Hulk Hogan. And before anyone says it, you have to separate the artist from the art. Fuck that bullshit. Hulk Hogan never separated Terry Bollea from who he was. Hulk Hogan was always Hulk Hogan, brother. So let's stop that bullshit, okay? We're not doing that here. We're not doing that. I'm not fucking having it. Hulk Hogan did a lot of shit that was fucked up. He stopped the union from forming in wrestling that would have provided wrestlers health care and benefits that would have bettered the business and kept guys from being on fucking pain pills like they were. So maybe some of his peers, like the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man, and some of those guys might still be fucking around now instead of being off this earthly coil. He did that when he stooged out Jesse Ventura for trying to unionize the business. That's one thing he did. He used his creative control to fuck up a lot of fucking careers and to stop a lot of pushes because that didn't work for him, brother. That's fact. He undercut Bret Hart. He undercut The Undertaker. He undercut Steve Austin and Brian Pillman in WCW and got them fired. He undercut Goldberg at the height of his fucking thing, of his fucking run. He undercut Kevin Nash at points. He undercut all these people because of his creative control. These are all things he did. He put himself over talent he shouldn't have put himself over. And he didn't know when to fucking walk away and pass the fucking torch. And that's just the wrestling stuff. Now, let's get into the other part of this. And this is the part where people are going to be mad at me, but I'm going here. Then there's him dropping the third leg and saying what he fucking said. We all know what he said. We've all seen it over the years. And I'm going to say this right fucking now. For anybody out there who even dares to get in these comments to try to tell me how, me as a black man, how I should feel about the fact that a guy that a lot of my friends grew up loving, my cousins loved this dude. Damn near everybody loved Hulk Hogan. So for him to call us all what he called us and to talk about us the way he did, in the weirdest situation, mind you, because in the middle of sex, who the fuck does that? Who does that? You're dropping the third leg and it was the pussy that good that you went to, I gotta say some hateful shit? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, let's be fucking real. Like, who the fuck does that? But he did. Okay? And instead of really offering an apology for what he said, he asked for forgiveness, right? But when he addressed the WWE locker room, he didn't say, I'm fucking sorry for what I said. He said, brother, you gotta watch out for cameras because they're everywhere. That's not a fucking apology, okay? An apology, and I'm gonna use myself as an example here. I haven't talked about this on any level at any point in the past 6-7 months. But my marriage kind of sort of fell apart, right? Okay? Like, I had ended up moving back to Baltimore from Colorado, where I was at the time, because shit fell apart. Recently, in talking to my wife, we're still married and stuff like that, and that's a whole nother topic I'll get into down the road somewhere. But we talked, and one of the things I said to her, because we've both had time to really sit back and think about everything and kind of just deal with everything that happened. And I didn't intend on hurting her. It was never my intent. No, I didn't cheat on her or anything like that. But I wasn't the husband that I should have been or I needed to be. Okay? I wasn't. Not from I stepped out of the marriage standpoint, but there were things that I'm not great at. And that led to problems. And when I talked to her recently, I said, you know what? For what it's worth, I caused you a lot of pain. I never meant to do that. I didn't intend to do that. It was never my intent because I love you. And I'm truly sorry. Okay? That's a fucking apology. Alright? That's as real of an apology as you can fucking give. Hulk Hogan did not do that. And the reaction of the black wrestlers, many of whom probably grew up loving this motherfucker, loving this dude, their reaction said everything. Because they were all came out there like, yo, fuck Hulk Hogan. So yeah, in my house, it's been fuck Hulk Hogan for the past 15 fucking years. And then there's the other stuff. And I'll say this. I'm going to come out and say this. Him endorsing Trump was a fucking another black eye. And I'll tell you why. Does being a Trump supporter make you racist? No. It does not. But Donald Trump is a proven racist. And there was a lawsuit where him and his dad got sued for housing discrimination up in New York State back in the 60s or 70s. So yeah, he's a racist. His dad was a racist. It's been proven in court because they had to kick out money and do a bunch of shit. So he's a racist. If you're rocking with a guy who's a known racist, you may not be racist, but there's gonna be a lot of fucking questions about why you're fucking with that dude. Know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not racist, why are you rocking with this guy? And again, it doesn't mean everybody that's a Trump supporter is a racist, and I'm not saying that. But it does make you ask questions. Okay? It does. It for someone in my shoes, it's like, oh, if unless and like, because I know Trump supporters, and I know they aren't racist. So let me be clear on that. I know Trump supporters that are not racist, because if they were, I wouldn't be friends with them. So I know they're not racist. So, but I mean, they had their reasons for supporting him and stuff, because they either didn't like Hillary for their own personal reasons, or they felt like he was going to do things that he wound up not doing, and then they realized, ah, shit, I fucked up. Shouldn't have supported this guy, and they went the other way than the next election. Or they stayed, and then it's like, well, alright, I guess you're just drinking the Kool-Aid. I still love you, though. I love you. You're my friend. I'm not going to turn my back on you, but I got fucking questions, bro. I really got questions. So there's that. There's that part, okay? Then there's a story about him firing the black girl who was going to be hawking his beer at the fucking, where the fuck he was hawking his real American beer. That story comes out. So, for those people say, well, he apologized, shouldn't we forgive him? That story right there kind of throws that apology out the fucking window, because why'd you fire that girl? Because she's black? There's no other reason to fire her when you got there. Like, what the fuck is that shit? So, yeah, there are things that make me think that maybe he didn't really kind of change. Also note, and I got into this with somebody today, well, you gotta look at his background. You gotta look where he came from. Motherfucker was from Tampa, okay? He's from Tampa, fucking Florida, okay? Tampa. Know who else was from Tampa? Paul Orndorff. You know who grew up in the same area Hogan did? Paul Orndorff. You know who never dropped the N-word while dropping the third leg? Paul Orndorff. You know what happened when Hogan said, what I grew up in, that was what they said, brother. That's just how I grew up. You know what Paul Orndorff said to that? That's a bunch of bullshit. That's not what fucking happened. No, we fucking didn't, and no, he didn't. Because I grew up in the same neighborhood he grew up in. That's some bullshit. So there's that out the fucking window. So yeah, he didn't apologize, not really. He passed the buck off to how he grew up. And let me be clear on something else. Where you grow up does not dictate or does not define who you wind up being. I grew up in a neighborhood surrounded by gangs and a bunch of dumb shit, right? In one of the most dangerous cities in America, according to like right-wingers. And I never joined the gang. I'm not a criminal. I've never been arrested. I've never even been in, well, I have been in handcuffs, but that was a different story for another time. But I was not arrested that night. I've never been in the back of a cop, well, actually had been in the back of a cop car, but that was mistaken identity, and that cop had to apologize real fucking quick when he found out how bad he fucked up. Actually, I'll tell that story real quick. Comic book store I used to shop at. Owned by a nice couple, Jake and Ro. Loved them to death. They owned a store called Comic Book Kingdom down the street from where I lived at. Used to buy my comics there when I was growing up. Right? They get robbed. Cops going through our neighborhood because the guys came up my block. Ironically, they came up my block across the street, and me and my friend were going to another friend's house. Me and my best friend growing up, we were going to another friend's house. Cop pulls up, tells us to get in the car. And we're like, what the fuck? We just left it. What the fuck is this about? Takes us, pulls us down to a fucking police station, and starts asking us about a robbery at a comic book shop. And I just go, that comic book shop? I shopped there. I didn't rob them. The fuck are you talking about? I was never even there today. And then they bring in Jake and Roe to kind of ID who everybody they hemmed up. They see us and me and my friend in the lineup, and I have really good hearing. So I could hear him yelling, "Why the fuck is he and him in there? He shops at my store and that's his best friend. Get them the fuck out of there." So they had to fucking get us out of there. And, cops like, "Yeah, I fucked up. I'm going to give you guys a ride back to your neighborhood." No, we're going to walk. And we walked back from the police station because it was maybe like half a mile away. Because I wasn't getting back in that fucking cop's car. So that's the only time I've been in the back of a cop car. Was not handcuffed in that story. But, again, that goes to the whole point of what I'm saying. Just because of where I grew up does not dictate who I'm going to be. And if it does for you, if everybody in your neighborhood grew up being racist and you end up being a racist, that's not on them, that's on you. So that argument is bullshit. I will not stand for that fucking argument. But yeah. So, Hulk Hogan had a fucking complicated fucking tick. It actually is not that complicated. Hulk Hogan is one of the biggest stars in the history of professional wrestling. He is responsible for wrestling being what it is today. Hulk Hogan was also a racist piece of shit who busted unions, who kept people down with his kid to control his contract, who cheated on his wife, who was not a good... he gave a lot of money to charity, the SPCA, Make-A-Wish, did all kinds of good stuff like that. So that has to be said too. He did all those good things as well, but he was also a fucking racist and a not good fucking person. It is possible to say both about somebody. And as far as that goes, as far as the idea of decorum, because he just passed, nah. It's not about decorum. It's about being honest about the situation. It's about being real about who the person was. And that's who Hulk Hogan is. He did a lot of good, but he did a lot of fucking bad too. If you're going to talk about the good, you have to talk about the bad, because it's an honest conversation. And if you're not going to have an honest conversation about it, you need to shut the fuck up about it altogether. That's reality. When I die, I expect there to be a lot of people say good things about me. I expect people to say bad things about me, because that's reality. I wasn't always a good person. I tried to be, but I wasn't always. That's real. That's who I am. That's who I've been. That's who I'm going to be. I am not a perfect person. No one is. We've all done our dirt, right? We've all done our dirt. And that's okay. But I'm willing to go to the other side, knowing I did a lot more good and bad. Hulk Hogan had a little bit more of a checkered issue there. But allow me to say this. Right now, there's a wife and their children who are grieving the loss of their loved one. And my heart sincerely goes out to them. There are fans who are grieving because, much like me, Hulk Hogan was their childhood. And they loved that man. Like when Real American hit, it brought this feeling out of you. It does. It does. Even now. You think about the fucking finger, the fucking hulking up and all that stuff. It's ingrained in your fucking head. It's wormed its way into your fucking brain. It's there for all of us who are of that age. But if you didn't grow up with it, you have no idea what it was like. And you can't really talk about it because you don't know. Just like if you weren't there for Austin and The Rock in their heyday, you don't know what you don't know, and you weren't there, so you don't know. You might want to not talk about it. I was there. Okay? I lived through Hulkamania. I saw it. I saw arenas explode when he came out. I lived it, experienced it for myself. You know, that's reality. And Hulk Hogan is a complicated person, as we all are. But that doesn't mean that just because someone's gone, I mean, you can give them their flowers, but you also got to be real about why some people are like fuck that dude. And there are a lot of people who justifiably have that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, what he said hurt. Okay? It hurt. It disappointed people. It broke people's fucking hearts on some level because he was the ultimate fucking good guy to a lot of kids growing up. The ultimate good guy. He would say your prayers, take your vitamins, work hard, train hard, and you can be a real American. That's what Hulk Hogan meant to kids growing up in my age and a little bit older. That's what that meant. So for him to say what he said about people like me, yeah, that shit fucking hurt. And it shook us to our core because that guy wasn't supposed to be like that. But he was. That's reality. And for a lot of people, and it's not a lot of younger people are dancing on the man's grave. That's not cool. Celebrating the death of someone is never cool. Okay? It's not. It's shitty, it's fucked up, and it's not something you should do. But having a real conversation about who that person is and what that person did in their life, that's okay. So, allow me to end this again by saying to the fans who loved Hulk Hogan, to his family, seriously, no bullshit, my condolences. Straight up, I'm sorry for your loss. That the pain you're feeling is not something I wish on anybody. And if the reports are true, Hulk Hogan was in really bad shape, and he wasn't doing well. So, Hulk, whatever pain you were in, I hope that's gone. I do. Like, you sacrificed your body to entertain millions around the world. And while I was not a Hulkamaniac, I understand that you were that hero to so many people. So, on that note, all I can say is rest in peace, man. That's all I've got for this video. Like I said, for the younger kids, y'all gotta chill with the fucking dance on the man's grave. It ain't right. For older people, we can have the honest conversation about what he was. You can talk about both sides of it and be real about it, and it's okay. It's okay. Anyway, I'm gonna go make myself dinner. It's time. I'm hungry. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Peace.